Sometimes it takes courage to change things, and Yamaha shows it has courage by presenting an innovative transmission system called Y-AMT on a naked bike that truly represents the heart of the MT range, the MT-09. We tested it in Lanzarote a few months ago, and you can find the review at this link. What does this system consist of? First of all, let's start with what is added and what is removed. What is added are two electric actuators that act respectively on the gear shift and the clutch. What is removed is the gear shift lever and the clutch lever. What is added are two covers on the right and left that protect the two electric actuators. What is missing? No graphics, no specific coloring, no label that makes the version with the Y-AMT transmission recognizable compared to the standard MT-09, and this is already a clear choice. But what does Yamaha's courage consist of? It lies in choosing a sporty naked bike to demonstrate that this new transmission system, which is essentially a robotic gearbox, works perfectly well on a sport motorcycle. It could have chosen, for example, the Tracer 9 or models with smaller engine displacement, but instead it does so on a motorcycle that truly represents the essence of the MT range. This gearbox is here to stay. In fact, it will soon be extended to other models. Naturally, there will also be crossover models and more touring models, but the choice to start with the MT-09 demonstrates the intention not to categorize it, not to position it as a touring gearbox, but rather as a sporty gearbox. How does it work? And what else is there? The electric switches are different from those on the standard MT-09, particularly on the right side, where there is a switch that allows you to choose between two modes: automatic transmission, which is the automatic mode, and manual transmission, which is the manual mode. This switch is on the back of the control block, allowing you to switch from one mode to another. The mode button is the one we already know, which allows the standard MT-09 to switch between the 5 riding modes: Street, Rain, Sport, Custom 1, Custom 2. In this case, when the automatic option is selected, it allows you to choose between. Mode D is the one that allows for a more relaxed use of the transmission, perhaps even saving a bit of fuel. It focuses on efficiency and smooth operation, making it ideal for a calm stretch or for use in the city. The Sport mode, on the other hand, allows for a more athletic use that enhances the chassis and engine of the MT-09. The left switch also differs. The entire central section is identical to that of the MT-09, so it includes all the menu navigation system that we have already illustrated. While in the lower area, there is a lever. It is not actually two separate buttons, but a true lever. With the minus button, you downshift, and with the plus button, you upshift to a higher gear. The interesting thing is that due to the way the lever is organized, it is possible to use either the thumb to downshift and the index finger to upshift, or simply just the index finger to both upshift and downshift. What does this allow? On one hand, keeping the thumb on the knob provides a better grip. On the other hand, it allows for operating, for example, the turn signal without interrupting the gear shift, so the index finger enables shifting up and down through the gears. What are the other differences compared to the MT-09? There is a dedicated control unit that manages the robotic transmission. This control unit interfaces with all the electronics of the MT-09, which is a very rich electronic system that we already know. In particular, it acquires and uses all the data from the inertial platform to define the shifting logic. We are in the world of automatic transmission, so we have selected the automatic transmission mode. For example, we have chosen the Sport mode, which is the more athletic one. We do not need to engage any gear with a lever because there is no lever. We do not need to pull the clutch because there is no clutch lever. Rather, the clutch is here, and below it is the electric actuator that operates it. With the lever, we engage first gear using the plus button and simply accelerate. In automatic mode, the system will independently shift to the gear most suitable for the speed and all other parameters, such as the throttle angle, the bike's lean angle, and everything that comes from the inertial platform. You can still choose to intervene manually without disabling it. For example, we are entering a curve and we want to enter with more engine braking. By simply pressing the minus button, we can downshift 1 or 2 gears to achieve the RPM that we believe is most suitable for setting up the curve. With the next acceleration, the motorcycle is in automatic mode and everything operates very smoothly. However, when switching to manual mode using the lever, the MT indicator appears on the dashboard, along with the engaged gear. The transition from one gear to another occurs precisely with the lever, and one can freely decide which gear to engage. When switching from automatic mode to manual mode using the switch, on the control block, you are always in riding mode street. With the mode button, you can select your preferred riding mode. It is curious that every time you switch from automatic to manual, the system always defaults back to riding mode street, which is somewhat unusual because, for example, we might want a situation where we are riding in a sporty section in manual mode, then find ourselves in a congested urban area, switch to automatic using the lever, and then return to manual only to find ourselves back in riding mode street when we had previously selected sport. This detail is clearly a choice in the system's setting. Another interesting point to mention concerns the operating criteria in automatic mode, both in D and D+. At first, I turned off the navigator and looked at the tachometer to see if there was a predefined shifting regime. This regime does not exist because, compared to the times when the data available to the control units was limited, we now have an inertial platform that processes so much data that the system continuously adapts the response of the automatic transmission in the two modes, D and D+, through a 3D map. Therefore, there is no situation that repeats itself, making it impossible to draw conclusions about the operating logic simply by observing the tachometer. This is extreme adaptability. It says a lot about the fact that the automatic mode also adapts to sporty riding, and this is indeed Yamaha's goal. Another goal certainly concerns comfort, especially for the automatic part, in the sense that you can truly forget about everything and manage the motorcycle simply by looking at the road and choosing the best trajectory. Since the motorcycle goes into first gear when it stops, you may wonder how it is possible to engage the neutral position instead. Just pull the front brake lever and click on the minus of the lever. What should you do instead? When you need to, leave the motorcycle parked. There is no parking brake like on other models that have innovative transmission solutions, but there is a simple trick. When the ignition is turned off using the switch located at the center of the tank, the motorcycle automatically shifts into first gear, making it impossible to move and ensuring it is stationary and secure. There are advantages, and this is another strong point of the system. In fact, Yamaha claims that actuation through the fingers compared to actuation via the foot lever is faster due to a better neuromuscular connection that we have with our hand. Additionally, the electric actuator that operates the transmission changes gears in 1/10 of a second, which according to Yamaha is a better and faster time compared to what we can achieve with our third generation quick shifter on this MT-09. The dashboard does not look much different from a standard MT-09. In fact, we have the AT or MT indicator that identifies the selected mode, and then the maps on the right, which are D or more for the automatic mode, or street, rain, sport, custom 1, custom 2 for the manual mode. We rode 305 kilometers, quite a lot for a test of a naked bike, so the goal was to understand what the advantages are, because the objections you will probably raise here in the comments, please do write them, will be related to the functionality of the system in various conditions and especially to its sportiness. Perhaps when it arrives on less sporty models, there will be more discussion about comfort. In this case, I would like to focus more on the aspect of sportiness. And indeed, in manual mode, the shifts are really quick. You can almost hit the rev limiter, which provides a push from behind that is truly exhilarating. thanks to an engine that is rich in torque, which, we remind you, is exactly the same as that of the MT-09 with no changes in power or torque figures. In manual mode, shifting becomes incredibly fun. You quickly forget to use your foot, no longer even looking for the gear lever, and you play with the joystick, which is truly intuitive. I have always used my index finger. After a few kilometers, I forgot about my thumb, kept it tightly on the grip, and used my index finger. The sensations are truly wonderful. You focus on the trajectory, you concentrate on the lean, and you really have fun, fully utilizing the completely new chassis of the MT-09, which I remind you has been recently updated. In automatic mode, everything probably becomes a bit more muted in the sense that even the higher mode is quite conservative. It doesn't seek sportiness at all costs. The shift, as I mentioned, changes based on the RPM according to the conditions, but it is never extreme and the engine is never strained. After 305 kilometers, the consumption displayed on the screen is 5.6 liters per 100 kilometers, which is a very interesting figure and only slightly higher than the test of the MT-09 Lanzarote with the traditional transmission. This is despite the fact that obviously to test the system I changed much more than I would have in normal usage conditions. The flaws of the system, certainly not the weight, as it is only 2,800 grams more than the standard motorcycle, resulting in a declared ready-to-ride weight of 196 kilos. Moreover, the two actuators are, let's say, small and compact. They are hidden underneath here. There is an additional control unit, there are no levers, and overall, a remarkable balance has been achieved. The price is probably not a flaw, especially since it is only 500 euros more than the standard version. The final price is 11,399 euros for the Italian market, making it a very interesting proposal from an economic competitive standpoint. What is Yamaha's goal in terms of numbers? It's hard to say, but probably for such a sporty motorcycle, achieving 10 to 20% of sales with this version could already be a good result. However, the MT-09 is just the first in a series of models that will feature this technology, which is therefore here to stay. It is a clear choice by Yamaha, aimed at comfort, but above all at sportiness. So, we have a solution that caters to a very broad audience. There will be those who will use it on more touring-oriented motorcycles, and others who will work on this. For example, when the MT-09 SP arrives, with the Y to MT transmission, I believe many will be tempted to make a choice in the name of innovation.